Good evening, brothers and sisters. This evening's address is, I mean, it couldn't be more obvious if the title doesn't give away exactly what I'm talking about. But we're going to read this article. We're going to read a few more articles, and then I'm just going to expound on the subject at hand. That is, if you read the situation the way I'm reading it, I see this is a political stunt. No matter how it works out, helps Trump get reelected. Why this is so important is because, once again, the process for building the wall has to take place. Now, this article was actually released yesterday. So when you see this timeline 2 hours ago, it's just because I never reloaded the page. Uh, there's another. This is one of the other ones I'm going to show you. One moment. Right here, where it says Trump officials not sending immigrants to Florida after backlash. And as you can see, it says 29 minutes ago, but that's more like 4 or 5 hours ago. Now, that's not important, but I just wanted to to get you to understand how recent these things have developed. So, as of yesterday, they had just said they're going to release these people from Central America across the nation. As of today, they backtracked and said they're not going to send them to Florida. We'll get to that in a moment. Now let's go ahead and read this. Trump administration prepares to release Central American migrants across the nation. This is epic. I've been trying to tell everybody, trying to tell my homeboy earlier, like, the plan wasn't to release people all across the nation. The plan was to sequester these people in those quarters down there south of the border, make the situation so demoralizing that they just said, you know what, fuck it, it's not worth it. But because you have all these social justice warriors who just can't, you know what I mean, who just can't let it go. This is the reason why this it's the only reason why this is even still on the table, you know. But it's a good thing it's on the table because it creates all the pandemonium and all the drama needed for people who just sometimes don't see the big picture. So let's read it. It says the Trump admin is preparing to send Central American migrants caught along the southern border to border patrol stations. Listen, to border patrol stations across the entire nation, according to a senior border patrol official who confirmed that plans Friday. With more than 45 people being caught each day crossing the U.S.-Mexico border, the agency has run out of room at its border patrol facilities in the four border states. The agency has started looking at its facilities around the country, which are most likely along the northern border with Canada and coastal states. That means states from Oregon to North Dakota to Maine may begin receiving plane loads of migrant families in the weeks to come. On Tuesday, Customs and Border Protection sent its first plane full of migrants from Texas to San Diego. The official confirmed reports on Thursday that the Florida counties of Broward and Palm Beach are under consideration, given the size and capability of border patrol stations in the southern Florida region. But he did not say if the decision was final or when flights would start. Now, I already showed y'all the article where Florida said, fuck that. But we'll get to that later. Asked whether any federal funds would be provided to help communities deal with the relocation of migrants, the CPB official on Friday said that he was not aware of any such plans. I love this shit. The CPB official, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to brief reporters on the agency's internal discussion, said politics is not playing a role in its search for places to process and release migrant families. despite President Donald Trump's comments that he wanted to send migrants to so-called sanctuary cities that do not fully cooperate with federal immigration officials. Listen to this right here. I want y'all to listen to this. They just said that it was Trump's idea to send people to the sanctuary cities. Now, just listen to how the rest of this shit is worded. This is in quotes. Due to the fact that Democrats are unwilling to change our very dangerous immigration laws, we are indeed, as reported, giving strong consideration to placing illegal immigrants in sanctuary cities, Trump tweeted last month. Now, listen, they're trying to say that this political stunt that they're saying that this move is not a political stunt, but it is a political stunt. The fact that they can even allude to that makes it a political stunt, but even more so is the fact that they're polarizing a subject that is it ires people's emotions. It makes people feel some type of way, right? And they just said that D. Treasy tweeted last month. I remember when he said it too. It cracked me up when he said it. He was going to send these motherfuckers to sanctuary cities. I knew it was going to happen because they said that wasn't really there. The Border Patrol tried to say that the Trump administration didn't have the oversight or the authority to actually make that happen and go down. So here's what they're saying. Instead, the CPB official said that they are searching only for Border Patrol facilities with the space and computer systems necessary to process large numbers of migrants each day. The official said the agency is not sending migrants to the parts of the U.S. closest to their requested destinations. It is not sending migrants to the parts of the U.S. closest to their requested destinations, but making transportation decisions solely on each Border Patrol station's ability to receive large number of migrants. Now, what they're trying to say right there is that they're not sending these people to a sanctuary city that these motherfuckers want to go to. Right on. They're sending them to a Border Patrol station that might just so happen to be located in a sanctuary city, listen, or close to one. Can you dig it? Right? That's able to process all these people and these individuals. Now, the reason why they're doing this is because if these people somehow get free or go and commit a crime, they need to have all their DNA, their fingerprints, all that shit has to be on record. So that way it's easier to track. Because if there's a spike in crime, they want to make sure that it's not the residents, or that they want to make sure that it's not these newly found migrants within your community. Excuse me. But in either case, they would want to exonerate whoever is innocent, be it the migrant, be it the citizens, aka the residents, established residents, I should say. With that said, this is a political stunt, because what this does is that it takes all the dirt off of Trump's hands and it puts it on Border Patrol now. And if you guys don't think that there aren't Border Patrol or customs facilities, like there's custom facilities all over, and there's facilities that they might use as a supplement facility just in case their original facilities can't hold up. So I'll give you a prime example. They haven't brought up ICE just yet, right? But don't think that ICE won't get involved or that they can't use or won't use an ICE facility to hold and house some of these people, right? Which a lot of those are located in sanctuary cities. See, this is why this shit is so deep, because whenever you know that there's a group that's involved in this that they're not speaking on, that means that that group is probably going to be the muscle or the backbone that you don't see, that they don't want you to realize is actually vitally and crucially important to the entire process. Let's keep reading. Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw said on Thursday that he was told by local Border Patrol officials to expect flights to start arriving within 2 weeks, and that South Florida would receive about 1,000 migrants a month. It's a shit ton of people. 1,000. Listen, if you add 3,000 people to one county, right, for the rest of the month. Now, once again, people are dying. Birth rates aren't what they are, or what they want them to be. But they don't. These dark-skinned migrants do not replace white people, dog. Nor are they considered as white people on the census. Because when you put Hispanic, you can put Hispanic and you can put white right on. But a lot of the Hispanics will not. This is what a lot of people don't know. When the dudes don't see themselves as Spaniards and they see themselves as native people to whatever land that they're living in, they always put Hispanic, not black, right on. That's that. And they leave it at that. Here we go. Rick Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican, an ardent supporter of Trump, said he didn't know much beyond the news reports about plans to release migrants in his state. But he said that he said that if true, it would be a big problem. Listen to what he's saying. We cannot accommodate in Florida the dumping of unlawful migrants in our state. I think it will tax our resources, our school, the healthcare, law enforcement, state agencies. He said after a bill signing ceremony Friday, according to the Miami Herald. The CPB official could not estimate the average cost of each flight, but on Monday, ICE, which operates the flights, issued a public request for a contractor to handle up to 60,000 migrants transfer a year, with the vast majority of them, 88%, being transferred by air. So understand, ICE is responsible for moving these people, but they're trying to say that the Customs and Border Patrol are responsible for housing them. That's not how this shit is gonna. I can't stress to y'all enough. That's not how this shit is gonna play out. They're sending these motherfuckers to sanctuary cities, dog, and that's why this shit is called sanctuary. It's about to go down because Trump is going to be able to say, well, even if they're not being sent directly to sanctuary cities, they're being sent to states that have sanctuary cities, and these sanctuary cities should be welcoming these people with open arms. Right. He told me not to send them home. I didn't. I didn't send them directly to sanctuary cities. I sent them to Border Patrol stations where they were processed, and from there they were given directions or given information as to what places may be able to faster help them or faster accommodate them, right? And they're acclimating to the American environment. People are like, that's not important. I'm like, this probably is the most epic piece of news since they knew that Trump was for sure building the wall. Now I'm about to show y'all another article right after this that's totally unrelated to these two things, but it actually holds a lot of weight too. Okay, so Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, ICE, which is responsible for interior immigration enforcement, has more detention space available, has also said it's running out of space. That led Border Patrol agents in March to begin releasing migrants directly into local communities, at bus stations, community shelters, churches, and other places along the border. That's been happening in Tucson since March. So thousands of people every day have been being released into Tucson, if not at least hundreds, but we're going to say up from March till now, they've had thousands of people let go into at least this community. I know the city of Yuma was stressed out. I know both of the places by the Rio Grande were stressed out, and they've been releasing people into those communities for at least a month now. CPS tried shuttling migrants between the Border Patrol stations along the southern border, sending busloads of migrants from the flooded Rio Grande Valley sector in eastern Texas to other Border Patrol facilities in central and western Texas. Now the agency is looking all around the country to find more facilities that can help process the migrants. The migrants would be processed, given a date to appear in immigration court, and then released into the community. Did you see that right there? It's catch and release, but only they want to do catch and release in the as close as they can to these sanctuary places. Don't be surprised, y'all. California's gonna get swamped with a fucking crazy number of these people. It's gonna be crazy. Seattle, and the northern region of the state. So they're gonna have people all in the ICE processing facilities, probably from I'd say Kent, which is just a few cities south of Seattle, not nearly as far south as Tacoma. It's just maybe 20 minutes south of Seattle, 15 minutes if you're really, 10 minutes if you're driving really fast, but 15, 20 minutes on a regular day. They have ice processing facilities there, and all the way up. They have them all throughout all the little cities that that are in Western Washington. Any semi-major developed city that has over 100,000 people in the state uh, normally has at least one of those facilities. But from Kent on up, they're going to be sending these people up to Vancouver-ish, which is where you start to get from You can go to Vancouver, Washington, and be on one side of the street and like literally like walk up the street and you're in Canada. You know what I mean? As far as like how the border is set up, and then on the other side of the street, you're in Washington. So just know, you know what I mean? Like people can't even like understand. They're gonna release the shit ton of these people in a place like Seattle. They're gonna release thousands of them in Seattle. It's the only logical effort. What it does is it gives them, number one, the chance to claim sanctuary. Okay, so if they do decide to try to send you back, you go to a sanctuary city. Okay, all right, the sanctuary city is going to do more for you to keep you in the state than to let you get kicked out. That's number one. Number two is it now gives Trump the ability to say, well, these sanctuary cities didn't give these people sanctuary, so you can't say I'm not using these people for a political stunt. Right on. I didn't tell these people to come up here. I didn't welcome them up here with open arms to come here and illegally enter the country. Right. These other people from these other groups did that. And now seeing the blowback or the fallout from their decisions, now they want to recant or backpedal on what was said. But the problem with this is that, well, it wouldn't be a problem from Trump, but the problem would be for so-called Democrats or liberal-leaning people is that it would show that you've once again used a so-called minority group and their struggle, and you've exploited them for the whole sole purpose of political gain. So this is why this doesn't, no way, shape, or form does this hurt Trump. Now let me show you guys the double gut punch that Trump's administration is sending to California, because California is getting it. They're getting it double hard right now as far as this is happening. Trump cancels $929 million grant for California bullet train. This was also from yesterday. And this doesn't exactly have anything to do with, sanctuary cities per se, but it goes into, this is all a double. I mean, like, I was like, there's no way that these things are unrelated. They just started taking people to San Diego not too long ago. They have Border Patrol processing facilities and ICE. They have ICE facilities, all over California. They're going to be putting these people all in ICE facilities. I can't stress it to y'all enough. Can't stress it to you enough. ICE and Border Patrol are going to play this shit out hand in hand, lockstep. It's going to be like thunder and lightning. Though the two are powered by different forces, okay, they're going to work in conjunction with one another. Now, with that said, it says that the Trump administration officially canceled $929 million in federal grants earmarked for California's ambitious high-speed rail project, escalating tensions between the federal government and the most populous U.S. state. Federal Railroad Administrator Ronald Batori said in a letter Thursday to Brian Kelly, the chief executive officer of the state agency running the project, that California has failed to show progress and meet requirements under the agreements for the funds. Governor Gavin Newsom, through a spokeswoman, vowed a court fight. It is clear now that California has no foreseeable plans nor the capability to pursue the statewide HSR system as originally proposed, Batory wrote. So what he's saying is that whatever the regulations were, and I'm pretty sure under a different administration, even if California didn't meet the so-called guideline requirements, as long as they met some of them, they probably would have got this money. But because they've, once again, sanctuary, can't stress it enough, y'all. California has been one of the biggest states talking about we sanctuary city this, sanctuary city that. Right. They've been the state to fighting for migrants this entire time. So don't think that it's not related, that it's not, this is not a coincidence by any stretch of the imagination that the president would not only tell everybody, I'm about to be releasing migrants all over the country, right? They're already catching people in San Diego, California already, but he's like, no, I want to transport people all the way far north. Okay. All right. There's no real super duper strong border patrol presence in Oregon. From what? From what? There's a coastal region, but there's coastal region all in California, all in Washington. So I need you to understand is that they're putting these people anywhere they can put them. Trump's administration is hoping for spikes in crime. Trump's administration is hoping that these sanctuary cities lose the backbone to continue to support these migrants. It's all a political stunt and a political scheme. But because the Trump administration doesn't get called out for anything because it's not their plan. In the part for going to Florida, I'll show you how the Customs and Border Patrol covered Trump's ass. Give me a moment. Initially conceived, and now we're back to this article, initially conceived as connecting San Francisco and LA with a high-speed train that would slash travel times and transform the state's economy, the project has been beset by cost overruns and delays, causing its estimated price to balloon to $79 billion. Newsom, a Democrat who took office this year, said in February that the train, as planned, would cost too much and take too long, and he would focus on finishing roughly 170 miles of track already under construction in the Central Valley. The announcement from Washington came the same day that a top California environmental regulator threatened to enact tougher pollution rules that could include a ban on vehicles that burn petroleum-based fuels in retaliation against a federal plan to relax vehicle emission standards. California's leaders and Trump, who often criticize the state's policies and tweets, have fought over issues in court dozens of times. The Trump administration action is illegal and a direct assault on California, our green infrastructure, and the thousands of Central Valley workers who are building this project. Nathan Click, a spokesman for Newsom, said by email, just as we have seen from the Trump administration attacks on our clean air standards, our immigrant communities, and in countless other areas, the Trump administration is trying to exact political retribution on our state. Now, y'all notice how they threw out the immigrant communities right after this, right? Our green infrastructure, and then it was the immigrant communities. Really, they wanted to throw out the immigrants first, but they don't want this to seem like this shit's about the immigrants, dog, but it is. Newsom's comments on the train in February were initially interpreted as walking away from the project that has been in works for more than a decade, and the Trump administration subsequently seized on them to announce its intent to cancel the grant and claw back dollars already spent. The Federal Railroad Administration continues to consider all options regarding the return of the $2.5 billion in federal funds already awarded to the project, the agency said in a statement Thursday. Kelly argued in a March letter to the federal administration that Newsom's proposal wasn't a fundamental change, and that it's a pragmatic approach to ultimately connect the line to Silicon Valley and Southern California, with assistance from Mark Niket. So these are all the people who are involved, blah, 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 yada, yada. What this means ultimately, Trump said, fuck you niggas so hard, right? The double middle finger. He did it so hard on these cats that I want y'all to understand. I was looking for stuff that may have happened to other states, right? Where the federal government like isolated or singled out a particular state to punish them, but that wasn't the case. This was the only case like that, and the only thing that I could bring to my mind, I could bear to my mind, I was like the immigrants, the wall, dog. The California has been the most vocal state, even though you could argue that Texas has the largest area or the largest swath of border that contends with Mexico, right? They're not making nearly as much of the bones about having to potentially have a wall built up or people losing their property. There's not nearly as much of a fight over that in Texas as there is in California. No, Texas is a red state. Uh, Historically, California for a long time also was a red state. It didn't get blue till like 40 or 50 years ago. But that's neither here nor there. Uh, the point is this: California has 10 toes down. Once again, this goes back to stuff I've talked to y'all about already. California is 10 toes down about this shit. Okay, so is Trump and his administration. So not only did the Trump admin, it says that the Trump administration prepares to let these people go all over, but that's not really the Trump admin. No, really, it's the Border Patrol, okay, who's overwhelmed by this process of processing people. The yes, that's exactly right. The process of processing individuals has become so overwhelming for the Border Patrol and for ICE that they're saying, look, we need to send these people all over the nation, and we don't want to overwhelm already stressed out localities for their resources. So a place like California is going to feel it really hard, and areas that already have a strong migrant presence is going to go. It's only going to get even stronger. Um, the kind of crime that you would expect to be taking place from something like this, it's going to be more like guys beefing because he's from this place and this other guy's from that place. Any race of people who have come up here and have established gangs or have established some sort of financial foothold in the country, they're going to obviously fare better than the ones who don't have anyone like that. Uh, the reason why they're not taking people to the places that they request is because a lot of these folks have family members in these states or in these places that are like, yeah, man, just come out here and I'll help you get a job. So they're hoping to offset some of people's abilities to come and hit the ground running. The Trump administration wants to make some of these people criminals. They want some of them to turn to crime, right? So that way the Trump administration can say, aha, we told you. We told you they're nothing but a bunch of rapists and dirty ass drug dealers. We told you they ain't nothing but dirty bastards. That's what they're waiting to be able to do. It hasn't happened yet, but it's coming. As soon as they get enough people officially released into these communities, it's going to happen. Now let's read this last little one right here that I got for you. And this is realistically from like 5 hours ago, 4.5 hours ago, something like that. And it says Trump officials not sending migrants to Florida after backlash. Now, I need y'all to understand, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, they are not Trump officials. They are not Trump officials. Can you dig it? Border Patrol only has to do what is already legally mandated on their manifesto of rules and regulations that they are to operate, abide by, and enforce. So Trump legally doesn't have the authority unless somebody at the highest level of the border protection were to go through and then rechange the rules, Congress were to go through and then rewrite certain laws that may directly affect the CPB. But outside of those things taking place, there's no real authority like that. So this is all deceptively worded. And I'm not, once again, I'm not a dick rider of the president like some of these dudes are, but I do understand the value of political affiliation and political alignment. And when you see things like that, it tells you what side of the alignment or the forces that be this person has put themselves on. Now it says the U.S. Customs and Border Protection does not plan to send migrant families to Florida after reports about a Trump administration proposal resulted in backlash from local and state officials this week. A CPB official told The Hill on Saturday that the administration is not looking at transporting family units to Florida at this time, but said officials were looking at housing migrants in other areas across the country. It was reported earlier this week that the administration planned to send hundreds of migrants' families to Broward and Palm Beach counties, two Democratic strongholds in Florida that are among the state's most populous areas. Two Democratic strongholds, what? Two Democratic strongholds in Florida that are among the state's most populous areas. Because of everybody's efforts, we are able to stop what appeared to be a crisis for our community. Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw said in a statement Saturday, local TV station. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, an ally of President Trump, who was among those who pushed back on the reported plan, saying Friday that the proposal was not acceptable and that it might not go into effect. I'm going to address this, he said. This is not something that came down from the White House. This was something that came out of the agencies. Stop right there. For DeSantis to say that is DeSantis doubling down on everything that I've been putting forth. Sanctuary, sanctuary, sanctuary. That's what they're going to claim. Okay? Because they're going to go to these states and they're going to find the sanctuary city that won't allow them to get kicked the fuck out, even if they're found ineligible to become a citizen here. Right on? Or it's found that they committed crimes in the U.S. years ago, or in their country and they're wanted, whatever. They're going to try to make it as hard as they can to exonerate these people. I mean, not to exonerate, but to extradite these people. Right on? You're going to have folks who are like, oh, well, you know, that happened in the past and they deserve a second chance type motherfuckers. These are the kind of people that we're dealing with every day. And I just need y'all to understand it, because if you don't see it coming, I'm telling you, it's coming. Look, this is not something that came down from the White House. This was something that came out of the agencies. So he's letting people know that this has nothing to do with that Trump tweet. The agencies themselves have been pondering for probably as long as this shit jumped off. What are we going to do once we start to get to full capacity, beyond full capacity, and just up to our eyeballs in this stuff? And this was obviously on the table a long time ago. I'm thinking when the people first started to come to the United States, the Trump administration wanted to release them into sanctuary cities. But people may have felt, some of the different parties in his administration may have felt that wasn't tasteful. That was, you feel me? They might have felt that wasn't very tasteful, or it just wasn't kosher, if you want to say. Now let's go ahead and read this. A CPB official said in a statement obtained by The Hill that Immigration and Customs Enforcement aircraft were flying people from areas in the Rio Grande Valley in Texas to San Diego and Del Rio, Texas, moving individuals by bus and other areas. Why that is so important. It's just gonna. I'm just doubling down on my effort. if you guys don't think that this is about them being sent to sanctuary cities or as close as they can get them to sanctuary, they're trying to get these people as close to every sanctuary city as they possibly can. Okay? And Florida had the good sense to do what every other state should do and say, fuck that. Send those motherfuckers home. Put them. If you got enough money to put their asses on airplanes, put them on airplanes and send their asses back to Guatemala, back to Honduras. Okay, send their asses back to the DR. All right, okay, you feel me? Send them back, dog. Don't fuck that. Send them back to Costa Rica. Get them the fuck up out of here. That's how I would look at it. You feel me? Look, I know it sounds like hella messed up. I know people are like, why would you even talk like that? Look, dog, if they're coming from Panama, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, Costa Rica, anything like that, anywhere close to that fucking area, okay, all right, and they're talking, and once again, and they're able to put these people on planes and fly them out. I would be willing to say that the distances they're flying some of these people are equal or greater than flying them back home. Right. And I bet you it would cost way less. It would cost the American taxpayers nothing other than the flight to send their ass home, to fly them right to fly. How would they know? Unless, I mean, they would know once they got off the plane that they weren't in America no more. But what could they do if you flew them home? Nothing. Nothing. What kind of political backlash would there be from that? Oh, we flew these people home after their long hard journey. They were forced to just get sent back. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? That's what I would do. But the Trump administration is trying to double down on this shit, and they're hoping that it doesn't blow up in their face. They're hoping that they're able to build the wall. They're looking for an easy re-election. Man, I can't stress this shit enough. This dude, a political stunt like no other, you know, and that's just how it's gonna be, you know. That's just how it's gonna be. I don't think it's fair to exactly try to like hold one group or one party or faction responsible for every little damn thing, but I think it's fair to at least say and account for all the different little things that have happened and taken place. Does anybody, you know what I'm saying, get that right there? That Trump's administration, they want these people to claim sanctuary. You know, that's what they want. You know what I mean? They want these people to claim sanctuary. They want them to be able to say, I'm in. So I like I'm going to use my state, for example. Seattle is going to be a city that is overwhelmed with these people. And oh, that's another thing. A really big part of this has to do with them weeding out who are skilled and unskilled laborers from the migrants. So this is another big thing, is they're going to be able to see how many of these migrants actually have skills and abilities and the ones who do not. It's going to be easy because the types of jobs that they apply for. You see what I'm saying? They've lost so many skilled laborers. When you're locking up everybody, right? When you're locking up everybody, that's what's going to happen. Total caveat, but still in the same ballpark. When you look at the numbers of people who are incarcerated in the United States, and I didn't know this until I was watching this little thing the other day on a BGS's channel, but the U.S. has like 2 million people behind bars, right? And no, it wasn't BGS, it was Cerulean's channel, excuse me. And Cerulean said, yeah, the Chi-Coms only have 1.5 million people behind bars. You know, he was like, you know, like He's like, this is a totally repressive regime. You know, he's like, people well bitch and complain about other nations being repressive. He's like, but America is totally repressive. And the reason why I bring that up is because you have, out of the so-called 2 million people behind bars, more than 1 million of them, right on, are black people, black men. So when you look at what's really going on right now, all these black men who would be capable providers, capable members of their society are not there. So therefore they can't work these jobs. They're praying to God some of these migrants can come in and fill vital stations. I promise you. You think I'm lying? You think I'm joking? I'm not. The Trump administration is trying to double, triple, quadruple, quintuple, centuple down on this fucking effort. They need as much, they need to, they're trying to milk this for as much as they can milk it for. You want me to make some salvation videos, big bro? That's what that makes me do. When I read that kind of stuff, it makes me take deep breaths and blow on my lips like I'm a horse. You're asking for a lot, pimp, but I'll do my best. Give me a few days because I got to do my other Enoch stuff. I got a lot going on. I'm a busy, not important person, but I will do my best to reach out to the people. It's just difficult, brother. It's difficult to do this right here. This alone is a difficult task and undertaking when you're trying to explain to people that the idea of sanctuary being claimed by a group of migrants is going to be extremely legitimate, seeing how it's being set up for them to go across all these places in the nation. So let's just say, for example, there's no travel restrictions, or they have lax travel restrictions on the migrants. So he wanted to get to California, but he got stuck in Oregon, and his court's not till 2 months from now or a month from now. And his cousin in California is like, fuck it, bro. We'll buy you a bus ticket to come up and go to court every month. Come down to California, come work with me, come live with me. How hard is that? See, you're going to have so many different little situations, different ones. There's going to be so many different things, right, that are able to take place behind this. Don't think that if the coastal states, so if all your coastal and border states become overwhelmed with these migrants, don't think that they won't put them into interior states. I heard somebody say a long time ago that Trump's plan was to never send these immigrants home. I don't think that's the truth. Yes, sister. Yes. Your question is really more of a comment than a question. It's going to have a direct impact on the ID 2020 thing. Right. How can you get a real, they're not going to be able to get a real ID. Right. So they're going to have some other form. And if they do get a so-called official identification, you know for a fact that it's felonious. You know for a fact that it's questionable. See, it's gonna clamp down. I'm saying this whole thing is so big. I'm glad that you asked that, because now I get to go into this whole other little area of it, of where do you see how that changes everything, sister? How not being able to get on an airplane, how not being able to go into a government facility regularly. Which part, sister? Be more specific. The ID part with them, or just them and their travel in particular? Okay, so there's two ways to look at it. There's this really complicated way, which is just, and to say complicated is sophisticated, more or less. And the reason why it's sophisticated is because it works more in conjunction with migrants coming here. Okay, the real ID with us, and let me tie it in with the migrants. With the migrants coming here, let's say that they get some fake identification and they have fake ID. They're going to be able to claim, we need to go and we need to make sure that all these people who live in a certain given area all have proper identification. Now, one of the problems that I have with the Real ID Act is that when a guy like myself, if I decide that I want to comb my hair and pull it back, right? And let's say a white person is looking at me and they don't know if I'm black or not, or they don't know what race I am per se, that's the danger. You see what I'm saying? Just how you look in comparison to these people is dangerous. But the fact that the Real ID is going to stop, I want you to think about how many black men are felons. Shuts down their ability to travel. You can't, if you can't get on the plane anymore, God forbid you're a businessman. Listen, God forbid you're a business person who's paid your debt to society. Now they're trying to say that you can't get on and travel through the air because of past indiscretions. This might totally ruin your business. It might totally ruin your ability to provide for yourself. Let's say you're a felon who has to go into certain government facilities every day. This is a part of your everyday functions for your job. And then all of a sudden that's shut down. See, there's so many basic human functions that I couldn't isolate every single little thing that they could do to you or to us. Because the things that don't apply to you apply to someone else for sure. And the things that don't apply to them maybe more than likely apply to you, sister. Do you get what I'm saying? So let's say you travel a lot. And let's say you travel with a business partner and your business partner is a felon. And they're a crucial piece of your ability to do certain business. You may say, okay, we have to recalibrate how we're going to get you from place to place. But if recalibration costs more than their service is capable of putting out or is rendering, then the value of this individual, I mean, they go down the drain almost instantaneously. You have to realize that this is going to change people's lives overnight. But just back to the people claiming sanctuary, we have to realize who's ever seen Hunchback of Notre Dame? Has anybody ever seen that? You know, and I'm talking from the cartoon movies to the live action movies. One of the scenes that never changes ever is the opening scene where the woman is being chased by the knights or whatever in the city, right? The gypsy lady, Esmeralda. And she claims, she goes up, remember, she's sanctuary, sanctuary, sanctuary. She claims sanctuary, which is the ultimate protection of the church from any person. Now, what people don't understand is that her claiming sanctuary gave her sanctity from what was about to take place. Whether you get snatched into the streets and your head chopped off, or you get thrown to the guillotines, you get thrown to a dungeon, all that stuff is discernible. But the fact that this is what takes place in all of the movies, if you read the books about the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the claim of sanctuary is really one of the pinpoints to the entire story. So when I'm talking about this, I need y'all to understand that this is going to be what saves a lot of these people from being kicked out. You're going to have so many black people, black men and black women who get involved with these migrants, sexually and non-sexually. You're going to have a lot of them who are like, these are our people. They look just like us. They're just like us. Because some of the people who are going to get moved up here are going to look just like black people. or have features that are favorable to black people. But remember, they're still not you. The white man's trying to secretly replace you while still getting your genius and creative services. This is true. I can't make this up. I can't make this up. The idea of them claiming sanctuary is so that way they have something to stand on, so they can't get moved out of the country completely. Once again, they're already putting together a program to try to isolate who the skilled workers are among the migrants. So that way they can say, okay, we most definitely don't want to get rid of this guy, or this chick, because all of them have these abilities that we're lacking on, or we need crucially right now. They're not going to let people like that go. They're not. They're not. They would be stupid to let that happen. So they're trying to insource as much potential and as much ability as they can without seeming like that's what it is. Yeah, bro, they're trying to, once again, you know, I don't so much buy into like the term freaking gentrification as I do just being bought out, you know. But yeah, bro, they're trying to get rid of us. And quietly. So they make all this noise rah-rahing about the migrants, but once again, what communities are they going to be forced to go to? The poor, all the places that are more poor, right? You think rich white people want to see these migrants in their communities? No, they don't. They don't even want these motherfuckers picking apples for them. They don't want them doing nothing for them. Nothing. I'm talking about like the kind of white people you're talking about are they're honorary as fuck. They're not these new age Pete Buttigieg, Edward E. Newman looking motherfuckers. Okay, all right, they're not them. All right, you feel me? Not them. And I need y'all to get that. These are bona fide hardcore. I'll die an infinite number of times over before I have a grandchild that is even an eighth nigger, let alone half nigger. Can you dig it? I'll die. Fuck that. That's the kind of white people who are trying to get you pushed out. All right? Not these white people who be like, you know what? I hate white people. I think white people are evil. There's a lot of white people who talk like that this day. And they're not saying that for lip service. They've had enough time to stand back and look at the actions of their group. Okay? Just like them, sister. Bona fide motherfucking blue blood racist motherfuckers who for the life of them, you could save this sorry motherfucker's life and they wouldn't tell you thank you. They would just look at you with disgust, okay, and discontent. Trust me, there's people like that. They exist. They're real. They're on this planet. One of the problems that black people have is being able to admit and face this. That's one of the biggest issues that black people have to this day. See, my issue, like, look, look, sanctuary, right? Let me go ahead and talk about my actual work situation. So, in not even a whole 2 weeks, because I work with this Mexican dude, right, named Antelmo, and Antelmo, I don't know, I forget what part of Mexico he's from, but he's from Mexico. He's in Mexico right now as we speak, actually. And Antelmo, I know, I don't give a fuck what he tells me. I know he's not legal. He probably here on a for real work visa. Now, the reason why I say he's here on a for real work visa is because Antomo is a bona fide, legitimate brick mason. Now, I've learned more. I've done more work, been allowed to do more work than a person in my position would have been allowed to do. I'm sure if I was working with a white dude, I wouldn't have learned half of what I learned already. I wouldn't have been allowed to do half of what I've done already. But a lot of that comes from Antelmo trying to double down on the effort himself. Yeah, he's so right. He's a skilled worker. Understand what I'm saying? They'll let 1,000,000 Antelmos into this bitch. Okay? They'll let 1,000,000 of his asses in here. If they know how to do something, it's all good. And I'm not talking about landscape, and I'm talking about skilled labor. Shit that actually takes the ability and know-how to perform and do. So the fact that he's a skilled laborer means that in the eyes of a white person, he's more valuable than I am, because guess what? He's not black. And he can do pretty much what you do, only I don't have to look at your black ass. And yeah, he might be dark-skinned, so we get that we also get that guilty pleasure too, of looking at this dark-skinned Mexican work for us. You see what I'm saying? So they're trying to double down on the effort. There's a reason why these migrants from Central America look a certain way. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why most of them are not white looking and they're brown looking. There's a reason for that. What, you think white people want to look at other white looking people do slave labor, or people who resemble more or less black people do slave labor? Thank you very much. The Real ID Act is going to get a lot of black people locked up, sister. The Real ID Act is going to fuck a whole lot of people over, unrighteously and unfairly. What happens if it becomes a federal offense to travel a certain type of way without proper documentation? Right. Right. Not a regular misdemeanor or even gross misdemeanor, right? Right? Not just a regular felony, but a federal offense now. What happens when that happens? See, it hasn't gotten there yet. So I keep trying to tell everybody, the shit that I'm talking about, the things that I bring up, are normally so far down the line that you can't see them coming. I was reading an article earlier today. They're throwing around this ridiculous idea of trying to separate Chicago from the rest of Illinois, because Chicago is a Democratic center and the rest of the state is fairly conservative. And they say that the politics of Chicago don't match the identity of the rest of the state. Now, while that sounds like a good idea to certain people, to me it sounds like an atrocious, horrible idea. It's the same thing that they want to do in California, right? But if you essentially were to break up the states in California, you would be giving the Mexican mafia full control and power over specific sectors of the state, which is why they haven't done that. Chicago is totally different. It would be like, if they did that to Chicago, it would more than likely result in National Guard or an equivalent force being summoned. They already have the feds in there. Once again, I told you guys they're putting together federal cases on people right now so they can lock them up for hundreds of years. So the next year or so, maybe by the end of this year, you're gonna start to hear people being implicated for murders that took place years ago in Chicago. It's gonna happen. Don't worry, it's gonna happen. And it's not gonna be because people were telling. It's not gonna be because people, you know what I'm saying, don't know how to hold their water. No, it's not gonna be the reason. It's gonna be solely and only specifically because they have been able to use this technology and they've been able to follow the bodies. This guy was, they trust me. I know somewhere in one of those headquarters that are doing all the research for this stuff, they've got all the pictures of all the webs of all the people who've been killed when the shit first started, who the supposed shot callers were. They've got all that stuff already mapped out. They're just trying to put together the cases right now. Facts, not an opinion. With that said, black people are fucked. You get a whole bunch of, once again, so-called skilled migrants or immigrants to come up in this bitch, replace you and me. So that way, if they were to decide, if they decide to seek stiff or heavy prosecution against us, they already have an individual who can foreseeably take your place in society. They didn't lose anybody. See, once again, they want it their way and only their way. So they want you to be creative, innovative, intellectual, and the backbone of not only the American society, but the rest of the world. But at the same time, they don't ever want to acknowledge that you, in fact, are the Lego pieces that hold this entire thing together. And without you, Timmy Bowser, and without you, Andre Wilkin, and without you, Stephen, and without you, Martin, it's not happening. Can you dig it? They can't get rid of certain people right away. I don't have a true place in society. So trying to get rid of me, it would be like, you can't. You see what I'm saying? There's no replacement for a person like myself. Can't replace me. I don't have any function every day in society that is a clear desire or a must. But I can serve functions that are clear desires and must. No problem. I've served them before. I've served many different functions. So when you don't have a clear niche or there's not any one thing that you're committed to, you see, which is what I'm trying to really encourage now out of my brothers and sisters, is to give yourself equity and capital in more than one area. It's a must. It's a must. You may have a specific job that you do every day, but you must know how to take that function that you perform every day and apply it to other parts and facets of our lives. So that way you can serve other functions if need be, or if you desire so to do so. The reason why I speak to this is because when you have these people who are going to claim sanctuary, who are going to come here and get all sorts of help to get job training, everything is in Spanish. So it's not like they're going to have all the proper accommodation that they need, because there's going to be Spanish speaking people to service and help them everywhere they go. Name one state in America name one state in America where you can be sure and confident, not even in the Dakotas, mind you, are there places that don't have signs in Espanol. They are fully accommodated for already. So when they claim something like sanctuary and they're learning a skill that you may already know, and now they're applying for a job in a place that you already work, if you were the proverbial last hire, you may be the first to get fired in order to accommodate for this motherfucking immigrant. Sister, the wall needs to be built because they don't know who they're letting in. Okay, these people are claiming that they're from Central America. I know for a fact that some of these people are from the Middle East. I know for a fact they are. Prophecy. If every single nation is going to swarm Babylon at once, right? You can't fix duplicity, sister. You can't fix two-facedness. So if I try to explain to you why white people are two-faced, I'll lose the whole thing. You see what I'm saying? So the best way I can say it is that the two-faced nature of white people, they want, on one hand, They want to believe what the scripture has written about prophecy, right? But before all that takes place, they want to double down on the effort. You see, how many of these people can we get in here and trust are not from another nation? Word is bond. And trust don't come here with ill intent. You can't trust any of that. But this is what they're saying in their minds. How many of them can we allow to get in here while we're still? Because once that wall is pretty much put up and built, so we're gonna say as soon as March, April, May next year, there's gonna be way less people coming to the country illegally. Way less people. There's gonna be way less. If we make it out of this year, it's not even halfway through the year yet, and shit is hectic. It's crazy. So the wall is to be built, number one, to sustain prophecy. I couldn't care less what another person has to say about the wall. The wall to me only serves the purpose of it being of prophetic value. It holds no value to anyone else other than to me for that purpose. You see what I'm saying? There are no walls in Babylon. Where are the walls at? Where are the fucking walls at in the cities and the high gates already? Where are they at in any city and state? Established where we know where they're at. Where are they at, y'all? Right, they don't exist. So the walls have to be built. It's a must. You have people who don't believe in the Bible to save their life. They don't believe anything in the Bible is real. Who are working within the Trump administration with Trump, who may believe that who may believe all of what he's seeing is real, but he can't act on everything like that, because when you are around people who don't believe the same way, they will undermine what you're doing. They will purposely make it seem as if you're crazy. You see what I mean? So Trump can't go. Trump is already an old white dude. So you can't seem any more like a geriatric than you already are. He go out there talking about, God said this and God said that. He's out of there. He won't get to a second term. The only purpose is to fulfill scripture. That's it. That's it. There is no other purpose for that wall. That's why people can't really find a political reason for it. That's why people are like, it's a dumbass wall, because for hundreds of years since America was established, and for thousands of years before that, there was no wall. There wasn't one. So why do they need one now? And just like you just said, if he's just going to send all these people across the nation, why do you need a wall? It serves the literal purpose of fulfilling scripture and fulfilling prophecy, and to help prophecy be further fulfilled. By Trump shuttling, that's right. That's right. But by Trump shuttling people, flying people all over the country. Imagine this, sister. I keep saying this. If they have somewhere on record of all the different races of people that are in the US, right? And they're saying there's only 2 or 3 races, or there's only 10 races of people not in the country. And let's say that there's a belief that people who are not located here right now, people who are not physically here now, are trying to find their way into the country, have already found their way into the country. They're at one of these migrant facilities. Well, what happens when there's enough of them, per se, as scripture is written, to fulfill the scripture? When every single nation shall at once, you know what I mean, attack Babylon. Because every nation just being those type of people. So if you have every race of people, every nation of people in your country, and in one day they all just decide to go crazy, well, is that not every nation descending onto Babylon? Not to mention, if the broad walls are going to burn, and if the broad walls are going to fall, and the high gates burn in fire, let's just imagine that people from south of the border, Mexico, Central America, South of America, right? Let's just say that they all surrounded America and were coming up, breaking down the walls, burning shit, tearing shit up. Let's say for some odd reason, Canada got a hair up its ass, right? And they said, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna join in. The diversity in a place like Canada alone gives credence to the scripture. Uh, it's gonna be a crazy day when whatever jumps off. It's gonna be a crazy. It's gonna be an event. It's gonna be an endless slaughter, as the Book of Enoch says. And we're doing that tomorrow. The Book of Enoch about to go down. We're gonna do that early though. We're gonna do that at like 2 or 3 p.m. my time. You know, so for all of us on the West Coast who are used to that Pacific Standard Time, look for it around there. But before I finish this out, because I knew that this was going to be a not too long one, you know, short one, just come to the point. You didn't hear it the other day when I was reading it to you. I kind of that was one of those parts that I kind of like stressed and elaborated. You know, let me find it real fast. Okay, here we go. Chapter 56. It's in the middle of verse 7. And it says, and a man shall not know his brother, nor a son his father or his mother, till there be no number of the corpses through their slaughter, and their punishment not be in vain. So if there's going to be till there be no number of the corpses through their slaughter, that's endless. That's endless slaughter, sister. That's endless bloodshed. If you can't count the corpses, if there's billions of people on Earth right now, do you know how many people have to be dead in order for you to not be able to count how many people died? Where you're just like, fuck, almost everybody died. hey, a great number of people have to expire for that. So, yeah. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. A great number of people would have to die for there to be endless bloodshed or ceaseless bloodshed, so to speak. But anyhow, we have to worry about. Well, we should all be worried about living to tomorrow, but one of your larger concerns should really just be, how do I stay from a bad situation with these types of people? I know it sounds messed up. I know it sounds like, bro, you shouldn't be thinking like that. You know, we're black people and nobody gives us a chance and this, that, and the other. Look, let me tell you something. All that altruistic, you know, put others before self, all that shit has done nothing for black people but get them fucked up. I'm here to tell y'all today, let it go. Let that shit go. It's not going to do you no good. Don't stand up for none of them. Don't stick up for none of them. I'm not saying that they're your God-given enemy, but they're most definitely not your ally. They're not. They're not your allies. They're not your friends. They're not. And I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that they're anything like that. Excuse me. Excuse me. Forgive me. But they're not. They're not. They are not allies, dog. They can't be. Thank you, sister. Thank you. That's excellent. Don't bother with nothing I have to do, nothing with none of them, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Are they going to prison for coming here illegally? No. If you and me went to another country illegally, we're going to prison. They're not putting us through the fucking process to apply for amnesty. Right on. They're not putting us through a process to apply for citizenship. They're not sending us through the litigation process to see what sort of rights we may have. Okay? Under pressure, they will be anything but an ally. Exactly, sister. This is my whole point. They owe us nothing. In their minds, they don't owe us shit. Though that's not true, though that's false, and we know that's false, they owe us everything. The only reason why they would be here is because of your father, my fathers, your mothers, my mothers, right on? Our ancestors are the only reason why these motherfuckers are here. Excuse my language. And it pisses me off, though. It really does. It irks me. It vexes me. It brings me to great anger when I think about people who are brown skinned, who get called minorities, who haven't been through none of the struggle that you've been through as a black person, that I've been through as a black person. Do y'all know I can't even comb my hair and pull my hair back and look half-ass decent for a day without? I mean, people stare at me anyway. People just be all in my face. When I say people be in my face all the time, they're always in my face. But if I do something like comb my hair and pull it back, stupid, all in your face for no reason. So you don't need any extra attention. And I say that to say this. There's going to be a lot of them who come here who act like they understand your struggle, my struggle. The English is going to be half-ass decent, and they're going to be able to shoot some half-ass bullshit to you. Like, yeah, you know what happened in slavery was wrong. I have ancestors that are black. They probably do. But it doesn't mean that they give a fuck. There's people here with afros and beards in America who will tell you that slavery happened in the past, right? It's got nothing to do with you. If I say that to you, it's because I know that you can't change shit. And I know that I can't change shit. I'm saying it from a cynical point of view. They're saying it from a point of view where they're oppressed, but they're almost happy that they're oppressed. These motherfuckers are going to come here to all these cities. California, you live in California, sister, and my other people live in Texas. And Steven, you also live in California. But Martin and Andre, because y'all live in Texas, be on the lookout for this shit. Be on the lookout. Who do they want to get rid of first? Us, obviously. So even though I don't see somebody replacing Andre, because what Andre does for a living is a little more complicated, and it takes more understanding than not. What up, Martin? What's popping? But a guy like myself, who is slowly moving into the jack of all trades category, I'm not really, you know what I'm saying? Like you can easier replace me than you could a guy like Andre. even though I'll do a range of jobs, what he does for a living, he deals with communication. They're not going to let just anybody start fucking with communication and telecoms. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. The reason why they let the Nigerians come over here and start fucking with the telecoms is because a lot of those guys are specialists or they're qualified individuals in their country. And they came here with those same credentials and are able to get jobs based on those credentials. It's going to work no differently than the people coming up from Central America. So if you have a guy who's a doctor down there or who was a doctor and said, you know what, I'm just not making enough money. I'd rather move to America and try my hand there. And lo and behold, he moves to a community where his medical expertise is actually in demand. This dude could go from making nothing, practically making almost nothing every year, to making 6 figures, almost 7 figures, depending on what kind of medical job or practice you know what I'm saying, he's dealing with. Everything is excellent, bro. Everything is excellent. But what we're talking about right here, Martin, is the idea of sanctuary. Now, there's no indication that these immigrants that I've been talking about now for like the last hour and a half are actually going to be sent to sanctuary cities per se. But the idea is that they're going to be sent to places where it's going to be incentivized that they go to the sanctuary cities in that state, because that's going to be the only way you don't get deported if you lose your case, right on, or if they find that you don't have a case. I read to everyone earlier that what the Trump administration is doing is the catch and release program, but it's really designed to hit the communities that have been unsupportive of the wall. So California, you know, you weren't here for it, but I read this article where the Trump administration, they canceled almost $1 billion worth of funding to damn California, because they said, listen to this right here. They want to build a high-speed rail down there, right? Like a bullet train. Now, mind you, this is California. But the reason why Trump really did it is because it's a sanctuary state. Not just a sanctuary city. Not only are they it's a sanctuary state. Migrants feel safe in California. They feel like as long as I'm in a place like Cali, I'm not going to get sent away right away. I was watching this thing the other day, or maybe even earlier today, bringing on the internet with the one little dude, DJ Vlad, and he had the OG rapper BG Knockout on it, and they were talking about the death penalty, and I'm going to tie this together, and they're talking about the death penalty in California, and Vlad is like, they pretty much don't have a death penalty. And BG Knockout was like, they do. But Vlad was like, it takes so long for them to execute people, it's almost a non-existent program. So it's the same thing with sanctuary. You understand what I mean? You don't want to go to a state that practices the death penalty and they practice it with impunity, like where it means nothing to kill you. You want to go somewhere where obviously they're going to consider taking your life. So the whole idea is that you don't want to live in a city where you being extradited back to where you came from means nothing to them. It means nothing to them to pay for your ticket if they have to have your ass sent back home. Whereas another city will capitalize on this political effort, right, to polarize you. You see what I'm saying? To make you the face of something, even though you're just Joe Blow Schmuckatelli from whatever country, and really you ain't supposed to be here anyway. But because there's no discretion or there's a lack of discretion, it's easy for people to say things like, "Oh well, those people are just like us, and they deserve to be helped." And I'm like, "Well, what about them is just like us? Because they have a country that's named after them, after the race and ethnicity that they identify with. They have a country named after them. For them to tell me how great or how good they're doing in this country, go home and do that shit then, dog. Okay, you know how to build houses where you came from. You know how to do this, well, do that where you came from. Build up your place, build up your nation. Let me see you guys really do it, and then talk to me about we understand the struggle of black people. Because you could never understand. You could never understand building and furnishing an entire nation, which furnished the rest of the world. The lights that are on above me right now are because of Lewis Lattimore. Most commonly used thing in the most commonly used thing in your household is a light that you turn on. And people don't even pay homage to the black man that made that possible. We'll tell you that a white man did it. So if you guys can't understand why I'm getting bent out of shape, it's because the same kind of people who will tell you that, oh, I feel your struggle, I feel your pain, are the same kind of people who will try to replace you and then tell you, oh, you should just work harder, my friend. You should just work harder. You should just do more. Okay. My best advice right now, sister, if any of the materials, if anything you use is outsourced from another country that potentially deals with China, if you have any surplus funds, I would buy those things and I would hold on to them. Because there's no telling what this trade war is going to do to every business. Remember, I was reading to y'all late last year about China not taking people's trash anymore. The prices of trash have yet to change. All this stuff is going to happen at one time. Everything is going to happen at one time. You see what I'm saying? So I can't, I could, but I can't really say to you for sure, like what materials come from China. Okay. Because any form of embroidery, right? Which is what they would call that in the Bible, which is a very highly skilled hand practice. It's a very skillful maneuver that that people learn with their hands. Yeah, well, I mean, it mainly depends on what we thrive and indulge in. People who sell technology and sell electronics are going to take the biggest hit. Companies that deal in technology and electronics are going to take the biggest hit. And that's just in the months to come, unless they come to some sort of miracle resolution, which I don't see coming. The people who are going to take the largest hits are the tech industries. That's really what I understand, and more so involved in that will be like the service industry of the tech industry. For people who have jobs where they just answer phones, shit like that, those jobs will be obsolete pretty soon. And it's not just because of the automation, right? It's going to be because you have automation kicking in and trade war increasing prices of products, and the only way to continue to make a profit is to either, number one, slash your prices and sell things for as fast as possible, so that way whatever losses you potentially took, you regain by the speed of the selling of the item. But if that wasn't going to work, then the only other thing you could do is to get rid of workers, right? To let workers go who serve non-vital, right on, or non-essential functions and purposes. It's the only logical thing. So the trade war is really going to hurt people who are in the lip service game. Can you dig what I'm saying, sister? If their job involves more telecommunication and the flow of information easily, people like that are going to hurt the most, and it's going to cost. Yeah, I mean, well, because there's no telling what it's going to do to the internet. You know, there's no telling what it's going to do to regular websites. There's really no real telling how it's going to affect everybody. You know, that's why I said it all depends what you indulge in regularly as a person. You know, it all depends on what I indulge in as a person. It's not for me to say oh, when the trade war, you know, hits the crescendo, it's going to affect Demetrius because I'm I'm working at a bricklaying place right now. Like for example, let's say I quit this place, right? Let's say I worked there for another month, another 2 months, learned as much as I could learn, and said, okay, you know what? I know how to confidently apply mortar, remove it, make it look nice. I know how to properly do this, do that, do this, do that. There's a lot more to it still than that. You see what I'm saying? There's more to that job. So for a guy like me, how it would affect me is not by me losing the job, but let's say I go to a place like Amazon, right? Where now I'm working in a warehouse, but the warehouse I'm working in, or the part I'm working in, is like the electronics department. But all of a sudden, there's not as many people buying electronics off of Amazon, and they're saying, well, you know what? We don't need everybody who's working here as much. So the people who we just hired on, we're going to let you guys go, or we're going to cut your hours a whole bunch to where you might have one working shift per week. You see what I'm saying? So now so this job might have been part-time where you're working 35 hours a week to now it's really a part-time job because you're working less than 20 hours a week. You see what I'm saying? So it all depends what your niche is. It all depends how you decide that you want to make your money. Because I don't have any one way I decide that I think is mandatory for me to get paid. It doesn't matter. Because if I have to go work at McDonald's or Burger King or go work at a nice ass restaurant or whatever, I'll do that. If I have to go work on a construction site, I'll do that. If I have to, whatever I have to do, if I have to file paperwork, I'll do that. See what I'm saying? If I have to work in a warehouse or do warehousing work, I'll do that. If I have to operate machines, I'll do that. There's so many different things I've had to do that I've done in my life that I'm not really worried. It's not fair for me to say because I'm not rich or nothing like that. You know what I mean? I don't have no skin in the game to lose from all this. You know what I'm saying? I don't have anything to lose, you know, but my soul and salvation. And since those don't belong to me, I don't have any tangible things to really lose other than the little things that I believe I possess. And that's what gives me the edge in this situation. And I think, brothers and sisters, you guys need to really adapt a pliable mindset that as long as I get paid and I can sustain my current life at the most minimal standards, I will be all right. That matters more than anything. There's nothing that matters more than that. Nothing. There's a lot of cats who don't want to admit that it's better for you to maintain, right, than for you to obtain. You know, what good does it do somebody, literally, to gain their world but to lose their life? You know what I'm saying? Right. It does you no good. So when you're thinking about how is this shit gonna affect me, don't worry about that. Worry about, can I just maintain? These are people who have, for the most part, have never been in America, don't know anything about America, don't understand how the money system works here. Nothing. Don't go out your way to help these people. You owe them nada. And they wouldn't do it, they would not do it for you. They would not do it for you. Do you know the complaining that the Mexicans did when those Africans were coming up through Mexico a couple years ago? Did nothing but bitch and complain. Talk about how those resources that the Africans were getting were actually for the native Mexicans. Wow! Can you fucking believe that? Right. Punk ass Mexican, you motherfuckers come down here or come up here, and I don't give a fuck what used to be Mexico, because it's not Mexico no more. White dudes beat your ass and took it, and you didn't beat their ass and take it back, so I don't want to hear nothing. And everything that they enjoy, that they do, comes from black people. Everything. So I'll be damned if a group of people who would never bend the bow for me expect me to bend the bow for them. Fuck out of here. And that's the problem with black people. I'm telling y'all right now. I'm telling y'all right now. That's gonna get more black people fucked up by these so-called migrants than anything else. Trying to help them. If I'm not around you, in general, you can't hurt me. Right. But you got all these black people who they want to polarize this shit as if, once again, these are not your brothers and sisters. They're not. I don't even claim most Africans. They gotta claim me first. I don't claim them. The fuck? Same punk ass niggas who will call you a descendant of the slave. You think I have to claim their motherfucking asses? Please. Sister, I know exactly what you're saying, but that's the whole point, though. If they're getting if those products aren't made in America, right? If they're shipped from another country who does business with China, and those tariffs are applied to those items, you're gonna pay a shit ton more money for that same item now. Now people are like, oh, Trump is standing up to the Chinese. No, what Trump is doing is what the other white people couldn't do because they all felt too guilty to do it. First off, you have to remind yourself of the lockstep relationship Britain and America had against the Chinese when they got that whole nation addicted to opium. The only reason why Mao Zedong even looks like a fucking tyrant to people is because white people got his whole nation addicted to dope. But he somehow is the bad guy. Right. If you think the Chinese forgot about that shit, if you think the Chinese are over that shit, think again. It's a fact. It's a fact. So if you think that the trade war is just about prices of what, man, this stuff goes back over 100 years ago. over 100 years ago. It goes that far back, and people have to recognize and realize what happened, it took place, and they have to appreciate it and say, "Oh, right, right. They did have them all strung out on dope." That was the joke for a long time. The Chinaman in the freaking fucking opium den with rice cakes or rice patties, right? Right. Exactly. It's vicious. But because they don't understand this, they can't see it like that. The Chinese have a beef that goes so far back. To look at how they're feeling about shit, to even understand it, you would have to go all the way from the past and understand their relationship with Westerners or just with white people in particular, and till now. And then you would be like, okay, this trade war or whatever it is, whatever it really is, has to happen. It has to take place. It's unavoidable, um, and it is. It 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 can't be avoided. But with that said, though, trade wars going on, ID Act of 2020, uh, uh, and then you got these immigrant. I mean, there's so many different little things. The wall. What else? White people going crazy every damn day, shooting up shit. Still got young black people going crazy every damn day, shooting up shit. If they ain't shooting up everything, they're just completely lost in the sauce. Uh, yeah. I mean, the environment is just full of nonsense and fuckery. So when I focus on something like immigration and people coming here from Central America, I don't even have to focus on the fact that they're trying to muscle you out and replace you. I just need y'all to understand what it's looking like before it comes, which is why I made it clear that the Trump administration said, you know what, California, you guys don't need that $1 billion. And that 2.5 billion that we already gave you, we need that back. Thank you. See, what that is meant to do is to break their backs. You see what I'm saying? And that's meant to break their backs. So now, not only are we not going to send the rest of the money to so-called finish this project, right? But we're going to send people all throughout your state who you claim have a right to be here, even though they weren't born here and haven't have done not a fucking thing for this nation or this country. Yet they have a right to be here. Okay, we're going to sit them down in your backyard and we're going to see how you guys feel about it. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. California felt like it was going to take on. California felt like it was going to take on the federal government, and they lost. And they lost big time. Cali gambled big, and Cali gambles big like that. They're known for this shit. This is a normal California antic, and it's blown up in their face. It's blown up completely in their face. What happens when some of these migrants are just what Trump said they are: rapists, murderers, and thieves? Then what happens? Are people still like, don't build the wall? No, they're like, fuck that. Build the wall. I work with a Mexican who's illegal. To me, I know this motherfucker ain't got no papers. Like I said, he probably got a work visa. That's it. And even he is not against the wall. He's like, personally, I understand. He told me, just like he said, personally, I understand. He said there's people, because he explained it. Now, most Mexicans, unless they're really from Mexico, can't tell you this. He said a lot of the cartels that are in Mexico are not actually from anywhere in Mexico. They're from Central America and from South America. He said, and those guys will come up there and muscle their way into communities, right? And then start extorting the local business owners. Right. He said so a lot of the bad stuff that happens in Mexico, he said a lot of the times it's not always Mexican people doing it. And I totally understood what he was saying. So what he was saying was that these people coming from Central America are not good people. That's what he was trying to say. Without the Mexican dude trying to throw down on other so-called Latino/Hispanics, he let it be known that there's cats who are coming from places in these other countries who come up to his country and cause problems. So what makes people think that they're not going to go to a place that's way more wide open? There's 50 other states you can get to if you start fucking up here. You can just leave. You can just leave and go somewhere else. Right. Right. How are you going to find them then? But that would only, once again, that would only help the political claims that Trump has already made. So this is my point to y'all, that the effort that they doubled down on, I'm not tripping. The Trump administration has doubled down on this shit. Very, very intelligent. Like, do I think it's going to blow up in their face? Yeah, I do. But do I see what they're trying to do? Yep. And I see the genius in it. And I totally understand and appreciate what they're trying to do. Do I agree with it? No. But do I appreciate and understand? Yep. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate them trying to do everything they can do that's in their power to maintain their status quo. I appreciate it. Do I like it? No. Do I agree? No. But I can appreciate that, because if I was them, I would more than likely be trying to do the same thing, because they suffer from some sort of mental dysfunction that can't be fixed with words and reasoning. So all I can do is say, okay, they're mentally ill, move on. But with that said, though, they're not so mentally ill that they don't understand that if these people come into communities fucking shit up, or let's say they're not fucking up shit, right? Let's say that these are good people, right? And there's a few of them who are knuckleheads. It would no matter what, if there's one crime committed by these migrants, it proved the Trump administration right. Just one. You guys heard about that young lady in Chicago who got lured to her death by a woman who was Hispanic, by the way, faking to be pregnant. And they killed the young lady and cut the baby out of her stomach. The baby's still alive, on life support. The baby's brain dead, all types of shit. They tried to steal the young lady's baby. Now, I want y'all to understand that these are people who've been here for who knows how long. And they still have it in them to cut a fucking baby out of somebody's womb. What makes y'all think that cats who are coming fresh from Guatemala, fresh from Honduras, okay? All right? Fresh from Costa Rica, fresh from the Dominican Republic. What makes you think that some of those cats, fresh from El Salvador, what makes you think that some of those cats aren't capable of that same action? Right. You don't think any of those chicks in the caravan or the children have been raped or sexually accosted since this shit began by the people coming up here? Don't lie to yourself. Trump is right. It's full of liars, rapists, and murderers. Look. You're telling me that every single one of these dudes coming up here is a skilled laborer? You're lying to yourself. And we all know that's not true. That's why they're going to try to identify them and see who they are. And they're going to pray to God that the skilled laborers aren't troublemakers. Right. This gives credence to why they would have to train people, because the non-troublemakers who aren't trained are going to have to get trained. It's not easy to replace black people. So much going on. I told you it's too much for me to explain in one hit. You know what I mean? No subject that I pick can be explained at one time, unless we're talking about like a coney dog. You know what I mean? With coney sauce, right? With onions and cheese on it. You know, like we can explain that in one hit. But to explain the concept of sanctuary, what it's going to do for these people who are migrants, what it's gonna how it's gonna affect people who live in sanctuary cities who might not realize they live in a sanctuary city. All the yuppies in Seattle, it sounds good standing up for migrants. That shit sounds good. But when they actually have migrants running around in their city, right? We'll see how they feel then. Right. When the immigrantes are in their city, we'll see how they feel then. But that's not the case. They're not living in that life. So a Seattleite can say some ignorant shit like, oh, look, let those people in. They all deserve the right to live. Okay, Mr. Seattleite or Mrs. Seattleite, let's see what you say when they're here. Doesn't matter if they're not nothing like us, sister. That's not how white people see it. And I didn't say that just because they're trying to replace you, that they had good replacements. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I said either. But you guys crack me up. You guys always call them Migos. Why do you guys call them Migos, man? You and Steve, man. I've seen Martin call them Migos before. You guys be cracking me up. Calling these dudes the Migos. That shit is funny. Anyway, I'm too childish. I have too much of a good time. Well, not too much of a good time. You got that from us? You're funny. See, Steve? Steve? No, amigo. Amigo, like friend. They're friends, you know? Hey, mi amigo. You know what I mean? Because they talk so fast. Right. You know, some of their words just be oh yeah, Steve says it the most. Steve says it the most. Steve can't help himself. Steve is quick to call them amigos. That is, you guys are too funny. You guys are too funny. The Migos. Stop. That's what they are, though, huh? That's what they are. Every time I hear that term Migos, I think of those three little retarded rappers from Atlanta. And the one retard who married a Migo chick who calls herself Cardi B. That's neither here nor there. Let's not even talk about that. However, I love talking about this type of stuff. I love talking about this type of stuff because it's awkward. I think I'm really one of the few people still on this entire platform of YouTube who addresses things the way that I address them. I'm not saying that I just have the most authentic way of going about things. I just think I'm the most openly honest. And you can compare me to anybody. I'm sure they're not more honest than I am. They might say things that sound funnier, and they might even seem like they're coming from an angle of truth that may seem more legitimate. But I don't focus on what you can see right here and right here and right now all the time. I deal in the spectrum. Did y'all just hear me? I deal in the spectrum. You can't get people to do something that they don't want to do willingly. You follow what I'm saying, bro? This is why I've never told. Believe it or not, I've never told a person that I have a YouTube channel. No, I've never promoted myself or tried to get people. You know what I'm saying? to listen to me. I've never done that. I've never done it because this is going to sound selfish. I know it's going to sound selfish. But when the Messiah said that he really didn't want those people to repent, I really totally could feel that. And I feel that in my heart and my soul right now at this very moment. And it's like, I don't want anybody who the Most High never intended to have a chance to have a chance. Because I'm the type of person, you might not agree with me, but I'm going to get you to think. I force people to think. I force it to happen. I force the so-called intellectuals on YouTube to think. I force them. I have literally changed people's ways of talking and delivering their messages. But I can't go back into every video where I'm like, look, go watch this video, go watch this video, and watch how I ask certain questions or watch how certain things happen. And you will notice the change of the atmosphere and the energy of specific people. But it's not on, once you say that there is a source of information, it's on them at that point to seek out the information. You see what I mean? Bro, sis, everybody, for the longest of time, I can't stress this enough, for the longest of time, you 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you couldn't have got me to say this about immigrants. You couldn't have. Because I was still so into the world that, and a lot of the good sense that I have now, I had back then. Only a few things have changed, but they're drastic things that have changed. But even that, with that said, is years ago, I wouldn't have had the mind to say, like, yeah, these people are a threat to your very existence, you know, and your ability to procreate, continuity, and longevity. But the more I see the situation that we're in, the more I have to recognize and say, yeah, they are most definitely a viable threat to everything that I have going. I had to tell the Mexican dude that I work with, because he was talking shit. He was like, maybe you just don't understand very well. And I said, no, bro. I said, my people built this motherfucking country. I said, we do everything the best. Everything. We're the best at everything. And all he just said, that's not true. I said, yeah, it is. He said, let's not talk about this. I said, dog, it's what it is. You wouldn't, I said, I'm not in your country. I'm not in Mexico. Nigga, you're in America. A country that my people have helped establish and build all by themselves while nobody taught them to read or write. I said, your people got their ass beat out the country, got invited back into the country. There's a big difference. That's what I told them while we're at work. If y'all think I care about giving a motherfucker the straight hot fuego, okay, right then and there, I don't give a damn. If you want to do something, let's do it. That's Demetrius. That's the difference between me and one of these other niggas out here who fucking claim to be a voice of the people. I'm just me. I can't talk for you. I can't. I feel like I'm a representative for all the black people who feel the way that I feel. That's it. I feel like if they think that they're a better ambassador or representative, then they should do so. But right now, I'm gonna have to do. I'll have to be that person. And when I say that with angst and displeasure, because I would much rather everybody be responsible for representing themselves, because I always tell you that's what you're responsible for. But I understand that when I go out to the world and I deal with people, they can judge you based on my attitude, based on how I carry myself, based on my characterization of conduct. So I'm your representative in that level in your minds. But once again, I will tell you, people who are not you cannot represent you. I don't represent mixed people because I'm not mixed, dog. I represent black people because I'm black. For every mixed dude out there who's like, I'm black, good for you, dog. But check this right here out, though. Both my parents are niggas. Both of them. Not just one. Okay? So I don't have this pool of genetics that I'm dipping into, or this other side of my ancestry that I can lean on whenever people start shitting on black people. I don't have that. There is no I have no sanctuary for that. There is no sanctuary for that. And any real black person understands, and they know that there is nowhere that you can hide from your blackness. No matter what you do. No matter what you do, you can't hide from your blackness. It can't happen. So when you're dealing with groups of people who don't have to respect your struggle, have never respected you as a whole, but don't have to respect your struggle, that's what's going to happen. They're going to come here. They're going to disrespect you. They're going to do their best to uproot you. These are the same people who come here and get addicted to methamphetamine and shit like that because they don't have the natural ability to just work day in and day out. So what they'll do is they'll come here and they'll start doing drugs like meth, shit that keeps them up, right? So that way they can work for 3 or 4 or 5 days straight. And they and they'll get the reputation of being a hard worker. Now, the quality of their work might not be very high, might not be very good at all. But because they're always there, they get the reputation of he's a hard worker. He's always here. He never takes a day off type shit. But because they live in a household where there's 8, 9, 10 of them living in one house, right? He only works right up the street from the job, or they carpool together. They all work at the same job. There's so many different little situations that I can't point out or that would have to manifest in your life for you to see it how I'm explaining it to you. But they don't have to care. They don't have to give a fuck. I can't stress it enough. And they're going to claim sanctuary. They're going to claim it. Don't worry. It's going to happen in San Diego. It's going to happen in San Francisco. It's going to happen in Seattle. It's going to happen in Portland. Okay? Every single state on the eastern side that has sanctuary cities, they're going to claim all that shit all over there. If Andre is still here, I'm pretty sure it was Andre. May have been somebody else, but I'm quite sure it was Andre who told me about they took people from Syria and they moved the people from Syria to the US, and they moved the families out of their homes and put them into and they put these people into lesser housing to house these people from Syria. Thousands of people this has happened to over the US. Thousands of people this has happened to over the US. Now, most of them have been white. Fortunately, most of them have been white people. But they have displaced black people. They have displaced them, but not as many. But the reason why they've displaced so many white people is because, unlike the Mexicans who think they can compete with black people, every other race knows that they're not hanging. They know they can't hang. They know they can't hang. That's it. If Hispanic people / Latinos didn't have the vicious nature of the gangs that they roll with on their side, they would stoke zero fear, zero worry into any kind of black person. But because you don't know what kind of bullshit they could be on, this is why you can't trust them. Be nice to people, but don't trust them. Learn that from one of those immigrantes. I got 10, 15 more minutes, maybe a full 20. I'm just gonna run my suck about any and everything I can that comes to my mind. I'll try to keep it on the sanctuary thing. I'm over that now. I've stressed it. I've stressed it. I think I'll beat a dead horse, you know. And a hell of a comment to end on was from you, sister. I'm black every day, all the time. And for Martin to second that, you know what I mean? That just speaks volumes to what I'm actually talking about. Is that every day of the week you're still black. You follow what I'm saying? You don't change who you are. You don't get to change who you are. You don't get to make it different all of a sudden. Because you don't like your brown skin. You feel me? You don't get to change that shit because of that. But these people get to come here, right? And could potentially one day be going from an illegal immigrant to a full blown citizen. And we already know everybody gets treated better than black people. Everybody gets treated better than black people. So not only would they come here and only on paper be on a lower status than you, but after a while they would actually gain the social status, and they would be seen as a person who is superior or better than you. What? What? That's fucking crazy. But that's what we're going through as black people. I can't stress it enough. Every black man should have a skill that he can do with his hands that 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 is a staple to the test of time. Every black man. I'm just now learning, whether it's cooking, right on, whether it's being an artisan, can you dig it? Whether it's warriorism, all right. I strongly feel that every black man should black women too especially, but black men, because you're who people look to. What's up, bro? What's up? My hitter. But black men especially should have a skill because you're who people look to. You know, people love you because of that, because you have skills. This is why black men are adored by people. It's not because they run fast and they jump high, right? Or because even the ugliest black men are still handsome. You have to be buckled. You have to just straight be ugly as I don't know what to be really ugly as a black person. You know what I'm saying? You have to be ugly as I don't know what to be ugly as a black person. I can't really think of any ugly black people I've ever met. Ever in my whole life. I can't think of like an actual ugly black person. No black people that I've ever seen are ugly to me. When I think about it. When I think about how society may see them, I see a person that society might not find attractive. But when I look at them, I see a beautiful brown person. Every time. I don't see what other people see. I'm not looking at the superficial stuff. Because I can see how we're put together, you know, through a person who somebody might not desire, man or woman. I can look at them and see the traits that a person would desire. Right on? I can see that. I don't have a problem acknowledging the attractiveness of another person. It's not really a big deal. You know what I mean? That's just you using your two eyes and saying whether or not anything that you see is well pleasing to your eyes. This is why the Most High God says to respect no man's person. Come on. But anyway, as a black man, they respect your skill level more than they respect everything. I could name off a list of famous athletes. I could name off a list of actors right now. A handful of whom are regular looking people. But it's their skill set. It's their skill set that sets them apart. It's their ability to deliver in a specific arena or area, right on, venue, if you will, that makes them so well respected and so highly touted. Right on, big bro. Right on. You know. But it's where I'm at right now, man. Where I'm learning a trade and a skill craft that our people perfected thousands of years ago from a dude who I would effectively call a Middle Earther. Right, right. I'm learning something that our people perfected, showed the white man how to do in this country. From a person whose people, based on his lineage, got their ass beat out the country and were invited back here. But I've learned so much in just a couple weeks that I'm like, I'm confident I could. I know this is gonna sound crazy. After just 2 weeks of working and seeing everything that I've seen, I'm confident that I could lay bricks and do it and do a very, very good job. Do a very good job at it. I wouldn't be super duper fast at first. Everything would just be like really, really, really good. But as I did it more and more throughout time, and as I do it more and more throughout time, I will get better at it. But it's like already, I'm like, oh, I could do this, and I I don't see if a person knows how to use a leveler and knows how to use a tape measure and knows how to use shears that can cut metal, knows how to mix mortar, right on, and knows how to mix concrete. I don't see how they can't lay bricks or do any kind of concrete work. It's hella easy. You see what I'm saying? It's hella easy. Like, but that's just coming from a person who had to. I had to find another job, but oh, of course, most so-called Africans are from Middle Earth, but that's neither here nor there. You know, that's when I say that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there because at this point they are a humanoid group who are accepted as being humans. They're all sister. They're all Gentiles. Why do you think the scripture never calls Gentiles humans? Ever. Not there's not one piece of scripture, not one piece of scripture that insinuates that Gentiles are human beings. Not one. The Migos, the so-called Africans who are super blue black and don't look like no kind of black people you know, all the Asians, all the fucking Arabs, okay? And I'm not talking about nigga Arabs, I'm talking about white skin, funny looking people from that region, Arabs. All of them are Middle Earthers, all of them are Gentiles. Okay, it's actually here's a great one. Here's a great one, bro. There's Middle Earthers who are part of legitimate groups of Africans. So the Kenyans, the Eritreans, the Somalians, right on, and the Ethiopians. Let's just keep it with those. Of course, some of the Bantu groups coming out of Nigeria, of course, some of those guys are Middle Earthers. But let's just talk about the four that I just mentioned, right? The Ethiopians, the Eritreans, the Somalians, and the Kenyans, right? All four of those have people who look just like niggas in their groups. All four of them have people from those groups who look just like black people. But all four of those groups have people who look nothing like black people in their groups. Nothing. Nothing. Don't look like you, don't act like you, don't think like you. Don't have none of your swag. Which is why when they come to America, they don't fit in. But the other guys who look like you, who have some of that swag, right? Have some of that Adamite swag dripping off of them. All right. This is why they're able to come here and fit right in. I'm trying to break it down. If they don't look like a nigga, they're not a nigga. So this dude is black as a tire. His lips are pink. He looks like fucking a Jim Crow minstrel, okay? But he's coming straight out of fucking the Congo. That motherfucker's not my people. That dude is straight from middle fucking earth. He is a Gentile, dog. He is directly descended from one of those big black tarmac looking things off of the walls talking about that they were Egyptians, okay? That's where the fuck they come from. You laugh your ass off all you want, my homie. I'm telling you, it doesn't get no realer. It doesn't get no realer than this. Those Migos, those Mexicans, whatever they want to call themselves, the motherfuckers is right from Middle Earth, cuz. All right? Okay? Call right out of the dirtiest, nastiest, dung-filled ditch you can think of. Right out of Middle Earth, dog. Straight from it. And they know this. And they know this. Why do you think I stressed for years and years and years these dudes were from Middle Earth? Why do you think I stressed for years and years and years all the different groups in South America and in America outside of the actual continent that we know as America, right? North, Central, and South. I've pointed out all the different groups that I know of that the internet will give you. Okay? Who the internet says that they say that they come from Middle Earth. Not Meech. They say they come out the middle of the fucking planet. Okay? And that's just on this side of the world. That's not the other side of the world where I pointed out groups of people from over there who claim that they come out the middle of the fucking planet. That's why you have cats, bro, who are from Mexico who look just like Indians. You have dudes who come from Mexico who call themselves Native Americans, but they look like Mexicans. This is true story. Can't make this shit up. That's why they're all built funny like that. And y'all know what I'm talking about when I say that they're built. If you're trying to tell me that the Mexicans aren't built funny, Mexicans are built hella funny. They're built hella funny. It's why their bodies are built funny like that. They're not even, bro, I'm trying to tell you. When I say the word humanoid, I'm literally being polite. Like that's what they are. They fought this entire time to get real human beings. If you read the Bible and understand what Gentiles did, Gentiles fought their entire time, that whole time, trying to prove to people and to force onto regular Adamites that they were human beings. And Adamites are like, no, you're not. You ain't no human, nigga. You're not, because you're not a human. You're not human. You're not human. You feel me? You feel me? That's what they went through with the Adamites. Adamites are like, no, you're not human. You're not human. Thousands of years later, Adamites have either had their asses beat or have been bred out or have been annihilated for certain branches and groups. Right. And now all of a sudden we're calling people that we would have never would have called human beings. Never would have even acknowledged supposedly came from the loins of Adam. Now these motherfuckers get credit for being Adamites and not Gentiles? Please. And we got semi-curly haired bastards running around the Middle East calling themselves the real descendants of Abraham. Some of them got flat hair calling themselves the descendants of Abraham. Please. This is the shit I'm talking about. But these motherfuckers are getting ready to come up here, same people, Middle Earth bastards, and claim sanctuary. When I was telling y'all earlier that some of those migrants aren't from Central America, some of those dudes are directly from the Middle East, which is what Trump is worried about now. He's like, fuck, we're about to invite all kinds of raghead and haggies over here. The reason why I know this, they're all from Middle Earth. They all look alike. How can you tell one from the other? Who hasn't seen a Mexican dude who looks like he's Asian? or an Arab dude who looks like he could pass for being Hispanic, or vice versa. They all look alike because they're all the fucking same. Only when they breed with the sky eye, gold hair, yellow haired people with funny colored skin do they even look kind of different. Kind of different. This shit is real. I can't stress it enough. And people be thinking that I'm tripping. They're not from the surface. They're not. I get tired of people trying to tell me all meat. Like in my fucking one video, the Pacific and the Angel DNA. I have people trying to tell me, you know, you're not Polynesian. You're not Melanesian. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be talking about these people. You shouldn't be talking about their history and this, that, and the other. First off, all I did was read some fucking articles. That's number one. All I did was read some articles and make a couple inferences while I was reading the articles. Second off, people do this to black people. Every fucking group can talk about black people if they want. Everybody can. The moment black people bring up any other group, all of a sudden we're ignoring our own history and we're being insensitive to our own history and our own plight and struggle. How the fuck can I be insensitive to my own plight and struggle, dog? Does that even make sense? I've been in this country my whole life. I know how they treat black people. Maybe I'm just desensitized to how they treat me or to certain aspects of my treatment. So certain things don't register, and they're not going to, and they shouldn't. I read the article earlier. I wish I could have showed y'all how I read the one article about the Border Patrol sending people all over the nation, and then I woke up this morning, and then sometime in the afternoon I rechecked MSN again, and then it had the article talking about how they're not sending anybody to Florida at all. I want y'all to understand this. If Florida, who is full of immigrants, who look all kinds of ways, if Florida really wanted those people down there, for whatever reason, they would have them down there. And I think Florida does have one sanctuary city. But that's not the point. The point is this right here, is that these are people who have enough sense to understand that the people you're trying to bring up here are not worth saving. What? Did you hear me? These are people who come from Central and South America themselves. There was no uproar from any of the Hispanic communities in Florida talking about, oh, you better accept these people. Fuck no. These cats who come from Honduras and Guatemala, they're like, do you know what happens in Honduras and Guatemala? Do you know what happens down there in El Salvador? They're like, fuck that. Leave those people there. Like I told y'all, if they got enough money to put their asses on planes and fly them across the country to different cities to have them processed, they have enough money to fly these motherfuckers home and drop them off right at whatever airport and say, good luck to you. Yeah, I hope you had a good time traveling to America. But like I said, since the Trump administration is trying to double down, triple down, quadruple, quintuple, septuple on this one occasion, they can't do that. Otherwise, I think they would have done that, and that would have been the most logical thing to do, to just fly them all back home. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Sister, I totally agree with that. And I totally see it. But you have to see the political ramifications. If we bring enough of these people into certain cities, once again, this goes back to skilled labor. If there's enough of them who are skilled laborers in a particular area that black men used to supplement, that black men used to be our mortar for, right on, and our division for, we need someone to pick up the slack. Because one of two things are happening to these black men. One, they're getting old and they're dying, or they're locked the fuck up. That's it. So they have to get, so they have, there's a must. It's a must, sister. It's a must. I didn't say I liked it, but it's a must that they do that because they have to supplement the workforce some way. Some way. When this is about fulfilling scripture, sister, thank you very much. What makes sense, what the most direct line of thought will escape people. Why would you build a wall if for thousands of years this country didn't have one? And for the last 239 years or 240 years or whatever, right? It's been doing just fine. Come on now. That's how it goes. That's the way it's going to be. I'm not sure what workforce black women are dominating right now. Whatever that workforce is, whether it be nursing, whether it be what is it called, administrative services, right? They're going to try to find a way to fit these Hispanics women into that niche, and they're going to try to find a way to muscle black women out. You don't have to pay them as much, right? And we still get to fulfill the ideal that we have a minority hired under our watch. Right. Right. God forbid they're people. Exactly, bro. But they have to realize, though, in South and Central America, those women who actually do have jobs, a lot of them work in the medical field. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if people know this, but Puerto Rico has some of the best doctors in the whole world. When Hurricane Katrina happened, one of the criticizes of George Bush was that he didn't go get the doctors from Puerto Rico to go help out in Katrina. Thank you very much. So when I'm saying what I'm saying, there's a little stance on that. I do stand on a little bit of firm ground, and if they have articles on this shit, you can look it up. But it's so old, I highly doubt that they're going to bring that up. But that was one of the heaviest criticisms of George W. Bush when Katrina happened. It wasn't just how Lady responded. It was the fact that there were people who died from things because the Puerto Rican government offered to send people, and the U.S. was like, no, we're good. We don't need any help. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. So if there's women coming from Central and South America who have any sort of understanding in the medical field, guess what they're going to get? Right. A job in the medical field. Guess who they're going to fire? Right. Right. Goodbye, Shaquita. Goodbye, Danica. Whatever her name is. Keisha, Rochelle. Can you dig it? Lindsay, Dorothy, Rose, Patrice. Okay. Brittany. All right. Ziana. Whatever your name is. You're out of here. Jenny. Whatever your name is. Okay. Jessie May. You're out of here, chick. Terry. Goodbye. 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 What do you think they're trying? Why do you think I'm saying they're looking for the skilled laborers? Yeah, Unica. She's out of here, dog. She's gone. She's out of here, pimp. She's out of here. She's out of here. Peace. You feel me? That's it. And I know it sounds like I'm being harsh or I'm being like over dramatic, but that's the reality that you're looking at. They're trying to see how many of these people have workable skills, send them to cities or to areas and locales that have a desire for that type of worker, and the people who are going to be disproportionately affected will be Black people. Even if you have a skill, that only you have on that work site, they'll still fire your Black ass, okay? Hire one of them and teach them that skill, no matter how painful that process is. Like I said, they'll still have a minority working on the job. And in this case, there'll be a double minority, triple minority. And all they got to do is sanctuary. That's it. That's all they got to do. And that's it. And they got your ass. They have big student loans too. I'm not sure. Because I know in Mexico, college is free. You know what I'm saying? I know that the U.S. government, the taxes that we pay here, pays for the college in Mexico. So they might have to train them. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, though, bro. They will train these motherfuckers. They will have you train your replacement, dog. No problem. No problem, my nigga. They will make you train your replacement. That is no fucking joke. So that's why I'm so adamant about young brothers, you know, brothers that are 40 and down, doing something that will fucking actually help their life out. Because if you're 40 and you take 10 years to learn a skill, chances are by 50 you've learned the skill. Oh, now I see what you're saying, sister. Now I see what you're saying. You're absolutely right. Man. And think about the stuff I've been talking about with student loans in the past. See, when you look at my body of work compared to like another person's body of work, everything that I talk about actually does come together, and it does match and it holds hands. It's just they're so far on the spectrum of relation, sometimes people can't see it. But what you're saying ties directly into things that I've talked about in the past. It's crazy. We have discussed many things. Many things we have discussed. Now, can we start to see how they all work together? This is our small unit cohesion. I can't stress it enough. Small unit cohesion is going to win our struggle. This part of the struggle will win because of it. Most jobs, like, yeah. See, bro, man, but they'll do it even worse though. They'll do that, but they'll hire the migrant dude, the immigrant dude, because he's still a minority, have you train him, fire you, and they don't lose the status of having a minority working for them. So when they file taxes that year, they lose nothing. As opposed to firing one of the lazy ass white boys, they'd rather pay him. See what I'm saying? They'd rather give this dude something for nothing. And will tell you, despite your best effort, you still need to work harder. You still need to do better. Learn a skill, Black people. Learn a skill that even if the internet fails, your skill is still relevant and it is still possible for you to do what you have to do. Learn a skill. The easiest skill to learn, for the most part, is to learn how to cook. That is the easiest skill. One moment. See, but that's the thing, though, bro. Is when are people going to see the scheme? I saw the scheme when I was 22 years old. That's 6 years ago, bro. I saw the scheme. My roommate right now, this is no bullshit. I hadn't seen him for 3 years, right? This is in 2012 because I graduated in 09. Okay. One moment, sister. I'll let Roderick get to that while I explain this. So if you wouldn't mind, Brother Roderick, giving her a brief explanation, Sister Bowser, a brief explanation as to how jobs will help pay for loans or will help subsidize your loan when you work for them, sign a specific contract. I've actually known people to do this. You know what I mean? But I want to talk about how my roommate years ago, right? This is years and years ago. So he went to school for art. Okay, he has a degree in whatever type of art degree it is, right? I remember when he was doing this expose. This was before he graduated from the UW, and he was doing this expose, and he was like, "I want you to come." Now I couldn't go, but I remember speaking to bro a year later, and this is in 2013, going to 2014. He was telling me how he was trying to join the Air Force. So I had already been to the military. I was telling him all the different little avenues that I knew, all the different little waivers that he might be able to possibly get just in case he needed them, blah, 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 blah. What he did was he ended up getting a job at Chipotle, right? Because he couldn't get into the Air Force, medical reasons. And now, mind you, he's been paying on his student loans for years. You know, he doesn't owe nearly as much as some other people do. But we were talking about this, and now this is funny. This is like almost 3 years ago now. Okay, he bought this car, and I told him, I said, bro, I said, when you get the car, you're gonna have to do two things. You're gonna have to pay it off as soon as possible, because it's gonna hurt your ability to pay off your loans faster and faster and faster. Now, I'm not a financial guru. I'm not anything like that. But I do manage my money pretty well for a guy who doesn't make very much money. And I was telling bro, yo, if you do this and you do this, you'll pay up your car faster. It might take you it might take you a little bit longer to get some of the things that you want or that you desire, but this will put you in a better position. Now, bro only owes some thousands for his loans left. Realistically, in the next 5 or 10 years before he's 40, he'll have all of his loans paid off. If he's lucky, before he's 35. And I was just telling bro, you've got to give these people as much money as you can, because when they start coming after folks for the money, right, you're going to need to be able to say, I've been paying and I've paid as much money as I could pay from the time that you started to have the loans till now. Now, like I said, 6 years ago, I seen the trend. I had friends like him who I'm like, he's a smart dude. How he can't get a job at a design company or doing somebody's product design or like the internet art or whatever for like a website. The fact that he couldn't be a programmer or anything like that, right? He didn't get offered any jobs, or and the places that he applied to, he didn't get any kind of real serious feedback from. You have to ask yourself, well, is that really worth going to school for 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years? I knew people that I went to school. I need y'all to understand. I was supposed to go to college. Okay, I was supposed to go to college. I'm one of the only people, and I'm not kissing my ass or not one of the only people that I know that when I see people I went to school with, they always ask me, what college did I go to? When they don't know that I didn't go to college. When people know that I didn't go, they don't even ask me that. They normally ask me, why didn't you go to college, bro? Why didn't you? You were the one person who I thought was gonna go. Because a lot of people were like, oh yeah, he'll easily be a PhD one day. Easily. And in their minds, not in my own mind, in other people's minds. They saw me as a PhD already way back then. So I never pursued the things that people thought I was capable of. You see what I'm saying? So they look down on me for that, but I look up at myself for not owing $1 to the schools and still knowing what I know. Nobody can take from me what I know or what I've done. They can't antiquate either one of those equations. They can't change anything. All they can do is dispute. And their dispute falls on deaf ears because I have the receipts. People went through some type of what's that say? There's worse things. There's worse things, sister. There's worse things. You could be sitting under a bridge all day. There are worse things than sitting at a desk all day, sister. The next time any one of y'all are in Washington State and you're in the city of Seattle, I want you to get on the freeway in the daytime and drive up and down the freeway. Spend about $30 on gas just so you can just drive up and down the freeway. I want y'all to see, because if it's like this in your state, I know California, it has to be bad because it's bad in Washington. So I know it's bad in Cali. There are Shantyvilles, Hoovervilles, whatever you want to call them, all over the freeway. Funniest thing I seen the other day, we're on the freeway coming up. These homeless people are outside, right? And one of the signs they have while they're sleeping outside is it's like a bunch of pallets, right, that have been connected together. Whoever did it is obviously a person who works in construction or something equivalent. And what happened is they have this thing that's built off the ground that you can tell that they live off the ground on, and it says Trump Motel. When I say I fell out dying when I see that Trump Motel on that thing, boy, I fell out dying. That shit was too funny. See, that's what I'm saying, man. It's everywhere. It's like this. Everywhere it's like this. You know? I'm telling y'all, that's what it said, y'all. I swear to God. I swear to God. I can't make this shit up. It said Trump Motel. Oh my goodness. Your boy about had a fucking fit. Okay? I about had a fit when I seen that shit. It was the funniest thing. It was the funniest thing. See? Look. This is from all the way from the West Coast to all the way over there to the East Coast to the southern part of the Midwest. Okay? We already it's been confirmed. Everybody here has confirmed it. No, listen, Roderick, at least 60% of all the homeless right now are veterans. At least. That's the what the fuck. What the fuck is, why are all these veterans homeless? And why are most of them from the Vietnam War? Ask yourself that. If you're gonna address homelessness, you have to address mental health. If you're gonna address mental health, you have to address the condition of this country. If you're gonna address the condition of this country, you're gonna have to address the history of this country. If you're going to address the history, you're going to have to be honest with those bifocals. And if you're going to be honest in those bifocals with them, looking just like this, what you're going to have to do is tell yourself that the treatment of black people, their mistreatment, their maltreatment, has allowed for the mistreatment and maltreatment of every other group in this country. That's what it is, though, bro. It's mental health, dog. It's not PTSD so much as it is people are broken. People are broken. How are you going to tell somebody who watched their friends die it's going to be okay? It's not going to be okay to that person. It's not. Life is anything but okay to that person. One of the most disrespectful, dismissive things that people could ever say to somebody when they've been through something is life goes on. That is the most disrespectful thing you could say. Any person who's ever lived knows that. When you step on ants, God doesn't just fucking strike you with lightning, boom, bam, bang, it's over. You're going to hell. No, you keep living. But he would hope that you would live long enough to realize that stepping on these ants is evil. Can you dig it? And you don't have the power nor ability to give back the life that you've taken. As a grown man, as an adult man, I couldn't tell you the last time out of malice I killed an insect or a bug. I couldn't tell you the last time out of malice. Maybe because I felt like it was too intrusive in my area and I just felt like, okay, you're disrespected. But before I kill a bug, I'll capture it and throw it back outside. You see what I'm saying? So even on that level, you see what I mean? I don't have the same level of malice I did as a child in my heart. And I think that's what it boils down to, bro, is that there's a level of malice in this country that has yet to be addressed or even looked at in a very serious manner. It's easy for people to call black people. It's easy for Gentiles, Middle Earthers, to call black people, real black people, evil, and all these other things that they like to say about us. But evil would be the best word because they demonize us. We're not human to the. Once again, it's funny that to the non-humans, we're not human. Okay, how I know you're human? It's because you have dominant genetics. Right. I'm not talking about blue black skin. I'm talking about just your actual phenotype. Your hair is curly. Your beard is thick. Your skin is brown. Your eyes are brown. You have the ability to pass all of these features onto the next generation. You have the ability to impose these features onto a person of a lesser genetic constitution. The ability to impose. Can you dig that? You are special. I'm not the only black man on the internet calling us special. I wouldn't even be close to the first guy. But I am the first one to tell you that you are the only human beings on this planet. And to distinguish you from all the other black people, I am the first. I am proud of that. I stand by that. I stand by my God and his division of his people between them and everyone else on this planet. I stand by my God. I stand by your God. our God, the God of everything. I stand by him. Because he would not have told us that you are a peculiar people if you weren't. He would not have told you that you are a chosen people if you weren't. Can you dig that? So while I get ready to end on this, I'm going to lay this heavy-hearted piece out first, just so that way I can end real lighthearted. Don't be mad about these migrants coming into any city and getting their piece. Deal with it. Suffer through it. Don't let it get the best of you. Remember two things. Number one, they hate us. All of these things hate us. And the few of them who don't hate, the few of them who do not hate us, don't understand us. They can never understand you. They can never understand your plight. All right, peace out, bro. It's just one of those things. We're going to have to make a decision, Black people, whether we want to be ourselves or we want to be the helpers of the world. And if you want to be yourself, and if you want to be 10 toes down, okay, for the cause of being Black, then it's going to take you saying, you know what? I'm not everybody's friend. I'm sorry. I'm not the doormat to the world. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't be all giving and take nothing. I'm sorry. It just won't work. My brothers and my sisters, these are the type of things that I don't always get to talk about these things always in the fullness of it, but I really do feel like I've been able to stress this in particular topic in a bunch of different ranges. That's always a good thing. I always reflect as I do something. I reflect that very moment. I don't wait to think about how it went. I think about how it's going right now. Right now, I think it's going just fine. Even with or without the approval, I know that I've delivered the information that is most crucial and most needed to help progress and push us forward. You need to be aware that they're coming soon to a city near you. Can you dig it? Coming soon to a city near you are these people who have nothing good planned for you. And if they can help it, they're going to replace you. Why do you think the roads are falling apart and all that stuff? Because Black people aren't doing the work anymore. Why do you think the buildings are falling apart? Because the Black people aren't doing the work anymore. Why do you think the whole social structure of the country is falling apart? Because Black people as a whole have just said, you know what? Fuck that. Let's just fall back, dog. They got it. I don't know how many times you can call somebody a nigger and think they're going to keep coming around, keep coming back for that kind of abuse. I don't know how many times you could tell a Black person, well, y'all really didn't do nothing during slavery. Right. So you know what? Fuck it. All that money that y'all got for free, since it's nothing, give it to me then. Right. Give it to my people. Since it's nothing, since that work we did, since fuck it, slavery really didn't change the economic outlook of the country. Even though America was a titan, was a cotton titan, titan of cotton is what I was going to say, but I got tongue tied. They were a cotton titan. Free labor. Free labor. Produced over 85% of the world's cotton at one time. Over 85%. What? And they mean and black people mean to believe that they believe in their minds that their people have done nothing worth any true value or equity? Fuck it, black people. These niggas, it took them years to listen to me. Years. They're just now getting to what I've been saying for years. I've been saying fall back and get out of this fucking political process. Been saying that. I came in here in tandem with the brother named Baptized the Scribe. Since then, we've fallen off by the wayside with one another. But every once in a while, I'll touch him and make sure he's still breathing and living. Whether he is or isn't, I have no idea these days, because he won't respond to emails like he used to. He hasn't emailed me in forever, so I really couldn't tell you. But I hope the guy's still alive. Hope he's still around. Hope he's still all right. Because a whole lot of the things that I came into here talking about, I either learned from bro directly or it was something that he said that I took from him and I was able to use. And this is no bullshit. From people not having souls to almost Middle Earth. Middle Earth, when I say almost, is what's the word? Middle Earth almost is because I'm the guy who said it was Middle Earth, you know, like I'm the guy who called it Middle Earth, outside of, you know, J.R.R. Tolkien or something like that. Like, I distinguish that the people who came up from after the flood lived in the middle of the planet, you know. So it wasn't a mystery as to how giants got here. And I explained things that I think he didn't elaborate on, or maybe he just didn't believe all the way. He's not the first guy I heard say that the serpent was a female, but he put a human aspect on it that nobody else ever did. I think as the years went on, his ability to be naturally creative diminished. And as opposed to giving me the just fucking the credit, I changed the way that this dude did all of his videos. I helped him literally change his whole style from the time I showed up to the time I haven't seen shit from this dude. I don't know about no channels or nothing like that. I haven't looked him up. But the point is this right here is that his whole everything changed because of me. He can act like that's not the case. I literally changed everything this dude talks about. There are so many different personalities on YouTube who I could show you specific works that they took directly from me. Things that only I said, that no one else said before me. Because I've looked on YouTube for the information. That's how I know. You know what I mean? On YouTube, nobody else said it. Maybe on Google, there might be like some abstract piece of information that doesn't exactly service what I'm saying, but it might speak to the general idea of what it is that I've brought up. But even still, I'm talking about people have made money off of the things that I've said, y'all. They've made money. They've made money. There's going to be guys who take shit from this and they're going to find a way to spin it and make money off of it. And they're going to find a way to spin this situation. Everything I've told y'all tonight is bona fide. I don't have to use anybody else's talking points of them trying to get rid of black people. They've been trying to get rid of us. I've known that for a long time. When I was in the Marine Corps, I found out that black servicemen, okay, were on a decline. Little do people know, during the 60s and 70s and 80s was the highest level of participation from blacks in the military. In the late 80s and the 90s, because of racism, it stymied greatly. Only until the 2000s, only until the Afghanistan conflict and the Iraq war jumped off, did black people even decide to really get kind of, sort of back involved into the U.S. military. Y'all can look this shit up, look at the numbers, look at the stats. I'm not lying to you. That's another reason why Trump and them try to keep these wars going, is because in order to keep quality people around, if y'all think I'm lying, quality people are black people. Right? In order to keep black people around, you have to do that. You have to fucking start wars. It's the truth. Can't make this up. I end on this note. Got a little bit of this stuff left. When I'm done with it, it's over. My point is this. You have people who are going to be here soon. They're already here. They're going to be in your neighborhood, my neighborhood soon. They're already here. They're going to look for the ones who are qualified to replace as many black people as possible. Sure, there's going to be some white people who are collateral damage. That's to be expected. And a couple Asians, maybe, who are collateral damage. But they stay in IT jobs, so I don't see that happening. But you're going to have a lot of black people and white people who are collateral damage at first. And then it's going to become intentional. You're no longer going to be collateral damage. You're just going to be, you getting fucked over is going to become part of the process for them getting theirs. I know black people don't want to believe that. I know black people do not want to believe that. But until it happens to them, just like until your trash price rises, shit that I told you 7 months ago, until that happens to you, and I told you it might not happen for a year and a half, close to 6 months. So we're going on that 6-month mark next month. So I doubt it. So I doubt it'll have risen by next month. But by the end of this year, starting next year, it's a very good chance that your trash bill could be exponentially more expensive or just noticeably more expensive. And with things like a trade war happening and them trying to replace your black asses, my black ass, with people who don't know shit, we'll see exactly how it is everything shapes out. I'm still beating their asses in court. You guys' prayers are still being heard by the Most High. I guess nothing has changed. My friends, it is always an honor, always a blessing to speak with you and to share time with you. Until the next time, I salute y'all. Hold on. So I don't tell any lies. Now I salute you. Much love, everybody. And may grace and mercy be with you.